Good morning, Year 1. So, today our lesson that we will be covering will be an introduction to data representations and tallies. Okay, so our learning intention for today. So, what are we learning to do? So, we are learning to represent and process data in different ways, including tallies. So, we haven't covered anything like this before, so I'm introducing you to what a tally is. Okay, Yuan. So, our success criteria for today. So, what are we going to be able to successfully do by the end of this lesson? So, we should be able to recognize the equivalence of different representations of numbers and using tally markers to collect and represent data. Okay, so let's move on. What is data? So we know from maths that data is information that we collect about any category, okay? But what's a category? A category is a group of something. So based on our data, we can categorize the information on colors, on sports, on genders, class size, hair color, eye color. All right, so now since we know what a data is and what categories are, we have a whole bunch of data here on the screen. So they are not put in any category at the moment. That's what our activity is. We are going to separate the data based on different categories. So as we can see, we have a whole bunch of emojis. Some of them are animals, some of them are fruits, some of them are vegetables, some of them are plants. So we need to separate everything now. Okay, so we're going to progress with the activity now. So what I've done is using the data on the left-hand side. So all the emojis that we have, we are going to categorize them based on color. So separating all the emojis based on their colors. For example, I have for red, I've got the red scarf and I've put it in the red section. The blue heart, I've put it in the blue section. The green clover goes into the green section. The yellow sunflower goes into the yellow section. So we are separating everything based on their colors. So what I'll do now is I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that, and I'll see you on the next slide. Okay, so this is what the activity should look like. By the end of it, we should have all of our red emojis categorized into one category, the red category. The blue, same thing, green, all the green emojis together, and all the yellow emojis all separated, okay? Okay, so what we have here is different ways to represent data. So in the previous slides, we had data, which was the whole bunch of emojis, okay? So once we categorize the emojis based on the four colors, red, blue, green, and yellow, what are ways to show the data, okay? So the first way we can use numbers, the next way we can use some words, other ways we can use different types of graphs. For example, I put a pictograph there, but we can use a bar graph or a column graph. And the last one, we can use tallies. Okay, so what I've done here is I've provided real life examples of how we can show the data from the emojis. So for example, numbers, there are 9 red emojis, 5 green emojis, 8 blue emojis, 7 yellow emojis. So we're showing what the data is, okay? We have a bar graph, so it's same thing, just in a graph, and then words. So that's written out. So 9 red, 5 green, etc. Okay. Okay, you one. So, what is a tally? What is it? How do we draw it? And what happens once we reach 5? So, a tally is another data representation. So, it's another way to show us what the data is. So, in the video I've provided, I show you how to draw each tally. So, each tally is represented just by one line that goes straight down like this. Once you reach 5, it goes straight across. Okay, now what I would like everyone to do is to draw in the amount of tallies in each section. So for example, how many red emojis did we have? Then put that tally in to the red section. For blue, how many blue emojis did we have? Then do the tallies for it and put that in the blue section. Same for green, same for yellow. Once you've done, I put the answers onto the next page.
Alright, year ones, now we're going to be categorising our own data by using a bag of jelly beans. Okay, so here is my very big bag of jelly beans. I'm going to need your help because we're going to be using this bag of jelly beans to create our very own table of data. We're going to use this bag of jelly beans to find a category of information that describes the bag of jelly beans. But hold on, I think we have a jelly bean friend that's here to help us collect this data.
Hello there, my name is Jelly Bean, and I will be helping you learn how to create a table of data. Altogether, you guys are going to go through my bag of Jelly Bean friends and find out some information about us. Then you will sort this data into specific categories. I am excited to see how you do it.
All right, our first step is we need to put on our looking glasses. We need to look and find that information. We're going to do that by having a look at our big bag of jelly beans and observing the information that we can find. What we see is going to make up the observations to find the specific type of data that we're going to be basing our table off. We need to think about what sort of things we can see. Are we looking at size, color, flavor? We need to use our thinking caps to see what information we can organize this data by.
I will give you a clue. Today you will be organizing me and my Jelly Bean friends into either colors or flavors. Which one will it be?
Well done, everyone. Our category of information that we're going to be describing our set of data by is colors. So we're going to be going through this bag of jelly beans and we're going to be looking and observing and seeing how many different colors that appear in this bag of jelly beans. This means our category of information is colors. This is the information we're going to be finding by looking in this data set or this bag of jelly beans. By sorting each jelly bean into what color it is described by, that creates our different categories. For example, red, orange, yellow, and many more. We're going to find out all of them.
How about we make a mind map and brainstorm all of the different colors that we can find in my Jelly Bean bag?
Thanks, Jelly Bean. What a good idea to brainstorm all of the colors that we have found in the jelly bean bag. Here's a mind map of our category, which is the colors of the jelly beans, and you can see that we found purple, blue, yellow, orange, pink, red, white, black, and green jelly beans in the bag. In total, we found 9 different colored jelly beans in our bag today. So now that we've observed and collected the category of information we're going to be finding from our bag of jelly beans, we're now going to create our table of data. And we do this in preparation before finding and recording the data down. So I've summarized our category, which is written there as colors, and the information we are going to be collecting are the different colored jelly beans. So how can we represent our data? Let's go back to our mind map just here, which tells us different ways we can represent this. Today, with our bag of jelly beans, we're going to be focusing on tallies. We're going to be creating a table of data using tallies to represent how many jelly beans are each color. Make sure you don't forget that one tally marking is equal to one jelly bean. So if I have 4 tally marks down in one color, that means 4 jelly beans represent that color. There are 4 jelly beans that appear to be that color. Okay, let's start making our table of data. This is an example of a table of data using the colors of the jelly beans that we found, which shows that we're going to be using tallies to represent the different amounts of jelly beans that appear to be each of those different colors. Okay, so here we have an empty table of data. When we create a table of data, we need 2 columns. Columns go up and down and top to bottom. There's only 2 of them here, and you can see that they're labeled as category and tally. All of the lines that are going across our table, these are called rows. They go across from left to right. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky remembering which lines mean columns and which lines mean rows. So here's a rhyme that will really help you remember. Remember, rows go left to right and columns mean height. You can also see some very empty spaces and in the rows, and that will be filled in later with our data. So if we have one column labeled category and the other column labeled tally, what might go into our rows under category? Put on your thinking caps and have a think.
Year ones, we will list all of our 9 brainstormed colors under our category column. For each row across, a different color representing a jelly bean will be written. This means that under our tally column, We will dash each tally. Each dash will represent a jelly bean that is the same color as what that row is labeled as. It's very important to label your columns and rows correctly.
All right, thank you, Jellybean, for all of your help. But now it's the year one's turn. It's your turn to go and create your own table of data so that when we go through the jelly bean bag all together, we will have a place to put all of our tallies. Okay, have a go by yourself, fill in all your colors for your categories, and let's go on to the next activity.
All right, year ones, who's ready to do some practicing of the things that we've just learned? Okay, ready? All right, to begin, we're going to practice something that we've just learned about and count some things and collect some data. Are you ready to find out what we're collecting and what we're counting? Oh my goodness, we are counting jelly beans. What are we going to find out? We're going to find out how many jelly beans there are going to be in the packet. What are the different colours that we could have in a packet of jelly beans? What do you think? I think there's at least going to be green and red and pink and purple and blue and maybe yellow. We're going to need to work together to help each other count and keep track of the jelly beans. We're going to be collecting all of the information in a table, and we're going to use a tally. So for every jelly bean, we're going to make a mark, and at the 5th jelly bean, we are going to make a strike across so that it looks like what you see on the screen. And we're going to count every colour of every jelly bean, and we're going to put it all into a table. So each row is going to have a different colour and a different count. To make this fun, I have 3 questions that I want you all to ask each other. You have 30 seconds to chat to the person next to you about what your favourite colour is, how many of each colour you think is going to be in the lolly bag, and what colour do you think is going to show up the most. Alright, ready. Starting from now, you have 30 seconds. Oh my goodness, that was a lively debate. Okay, we're going to start collecting some data now. I'm going to pull out a jelly bean, and I'm going to show it to you, and you're all going to tell me what colour it is. And then I'm going to put a tally mark next to the colour that it is. And we're going to keep doing that until we've counted all of the jelly beans. If you get too good at this, I will split the packet up and you can count the colours I give you and we can add it all up at the end. How does that sound? Alright, let's start. And the first jelly bean is pink. Now, who can tell me where the mark needs to go? You're right, in the pink row. Good job, everyone.
Hello, friends. As we come to the end of our lesson, let's take a moment to wind down together. Find a comfy spot in your room where you can see the screen well. Let's start by taking a deep breath in and out. Fantastic. Today, we dived into the world of numbers and pictures, and you all did an amazing job. Now, I want each of you to think about your favorite part of today's lesson. Was it drawing the tallies? Or counting out loud together? Maybe it was seeing all the different ways we can show what we have learned with pictures and numbers. Think about why you enjoyed that part of the lesson. What made it fun? Was it because it was easy, or maybe because it was challenging, but you did well? Now, data is just a collection of information, and today, by counting and categorizing, you were all little scientists gathering data. Every time you counted something, you were collecting data to learn something new. Isn't that exciting? Alrighty, great job, everyone. I'm proud of the work you have done today and how you shared it with us. Remember, every day is a chance to learn and explore new things. Alright, super learners, let's move on to a little review of what we have learned today about data. Remember, data is just a fancy way of saying information that we collect and look at. Can you all say data? Great. Now, think back to when we collected data today. We used our eyes to observe and our hands to count. For example, when we counted jelly beans, that was collecting data. Collecting data helps us learn more about the world around us. It helps us see what things are the most popular or what kind of things we have the most or least of. It's like being a detective where every piece of information helps solve a mystery. Now, I want you to think for a moment. Why is it important to collect data accurately? Imagine if we guessed how many candies were there without even counting them. Do you think we would know the exact number? Probably not, right? That's why being careful when we collect data is so important. All right. Fantastic participation, everyone. You are really showing how much you have learned about collecting and understanding data. Now, let's think about how we group things in a super fun way. Remember the jelly beans from our activity? We sorted them into categories based on their colors. This helped us see which color had the most jelly beans, and it made counting them a lot more fun. Now, here is a little challenge. Imagine if you have a jar of jelly beans in front of you right now. Think about how you would sort them if you were to group them not just by color, but maybe by their flavor or size. What categories would you create? If you want, you can draw your jelly beans and their categories, or think about it and hold that picture in your mind. By organizing things, whether they are jelly beans or data, we can quickly find out interesting information like which is the most common or which is the rarest. This is a very important skill, almost like being a young scientist or a detective finding clues. Next, let's remember the different ways we can show everyone what we have learned today. We can write things down on paper, we can use numbers, we can draw pictures, or even use tally marks, like when we drew all those apples and oranges to see which fruit is the most popular. Pictures help us see the information quickly, and they make it fun to look at. Finally, let's talk about tallies. When we count things, we make little marks. We go one, two, three, four, and then the fifth one is a big line across. So, can we all remember this? The fifth one is a big line across, like playing the games of X and O's. This helps us counting things faster. So, next time when you help out at home or in a class, you can show how you can use tallies to count. It's quick and smart, just like you, my friend. All right, and there we go. We have had a busy day learning all about data. You all did good job, and I'm super proud of each one of you. Thank you.